Right, okay, so I don't even know where I'm really going to go with this, but I should actually go on to Python programming there. Yeah, and a whole bunch of stuff. I might actually even add to this. I guess, and I don't think I've even got a section that's got type hints anywhere on here. So, yeah. The first bit that I'm going to do anyway is this is going to be about forward referencing. I've done a tiny bit of Googling, which leads me to the old Stack Overflow page, and I've done a tiny bit of where is it? I've used U.com. I always use different. So this is Google Bard's use for not U.com. Yeah, it's Google Bard. But basically, I was asking this question, but I'll run through the crux of it anyway. And you're kind of like learning in real time as I'm learning. Let me like make this large on the screen, and I'll zoom in on everything as well. But basically, the question is this, which is I want to just create a class, any kind of class in Python, and I came across this piece where you've got this double underscore add method, which gives you the property of addition, so you can do things like normal addition in Python, but you can do it on classes. And so like normally if you had a class and you didn't have the add method in there and you try to add something, so I guess I'll do a class with just initialize a class there, and then I'll just call this my first class, and then I'll kind of like copy this, I guess, and do never guess what we're going to put here, second. So this is the crux of the problem. I'm going to comment this piece out because it's not necessary at the moment. Control // I might get rid of this sidebar as well here. I'll get rid of that altogether. And zoom in a bit. There we go. So now it's a bit bigger. And what I want to do is say that x equals my first class, and it takes in one argument. So I'll just put the number 1 in there. There we go. I've given it an integer. I might even type into it here, just say that this is an int, just to make life easy. And my second class, that will type in as well, int. And so y equals my second class, and that is a 1. So I'm just going to do 1 plus 1 basically. So I'm going to put z equals x plus y, and I'll try and run this piece of code. So I think if I do, yeah, I've got it in the thing there. So I'll just run this piece of code on the side, respecting our 80 lines, just see what happens. Launching the Python kernel, we get this unsupported operand type for this plus, as in plus doesn't exist. But we know that, for example, if x was just equal to 1 and y was equal to 1, so I'm just overwriting this x and y here, I'm just re-overwriting over here, so I'm changing them just to integers. Let's do a print now, just to get the result of z. There we go, we get the number 2 that's spat out here down at the bottom. So we know that that works, and x and y here, although they're like built-in types, they're actually classes. So they're both type integer, and integer is it's of class integer. So if I did type of x, it'd be class integer. In fact, I will do that. So print type of x there, and also let's print type of y. Just while we're at it, they're both the same thing. So we got it's a class of int and a class of int, so they're classes. And there's something embedded inside of Python for how you can add classes, and in order to add classes we would need this double underscore add method. So that's pretty much it. So I want to be able to add the first and the second class together, right? So let me just get rid of that and then just do z again. Z equals x plus y. Right, so the question is how to do this with classes, and well, I've got it down here, but I might as well copy it up here, I guess. So it's something like def double underscore add double underscore self and then other. This is the colloquial way of doing it, and then you're going to return, and this is where I jump over to. So, and the reason why is just to get the framework of it. Where is that on here? Bard. So I basically prompt engineer something. So I ask here, the add under method in Python allows you to define, here you go, I put this in, right? Python dunder add in class, short description because I don't want too much nonsense around it as an answer. So I've given enough hinting as to what I want in terms of the actual question. And here it's got the double underscore add dunder method in Python allows you to, I'm going to zoom in a tiny bit more if I can. There we go. Allows you to define custom behavior for the addition operator. So this is what is done under the hood in Python. I kind of like already know this for like simplistic things. So plus, when applied in instances of your class, right, it essentially lets you overload the plus operator, enabling you to specify how objects of your class can be added together. So we could like do like nice things. Anyway, I asked you to give me an example very quickly, and this is the bog standard example. So from my original code, I'll just take this as a template, and you'll see where the question pops up. I mean, I could even put it in here and to like modify it with my first class and my second class. But for now I won't, because there's no need to. I think this will actually highlight the point enough. I will just uncomment this and go / here. And the boilerplate code is actually this. Right. In fact, I'm going to take the entirety of the boilerplate code. Here, watch, copy. Right. And I'm going to dump it all into here. So it's actually got the point of it as well. So everything, right? Now, the piece that I don't like always when I'm coding in a VS Code or any of the other like IDEs that give you like IntelliSense, so it's, you know, those are quite nice. The piece that I don't like is that if I do other and then dot, right, I don't expose any of the methods or attributes for it. So whereas if I do self dot, I do, right? Now I know here that I want other to be of the same type, so I want it to be the same class as this point here. So my next question is how do I type in for this? I want it to be of type point, like this. Then this is what I would normally do. I'll type into point. But look, I get a damn squiggly underscore, undefined name point. Right, this is in my linter, my rough linter. Maybe if I switch off the linting, maybe that'll work, but you know, presumably this is poor practice. So you know, the linter's picking it up. So what is the alternative for that? Like, how do I expose the X and Y? I want to actually state to this piece of code that it's X and Y. So I go and ask the question, well, how do I type in for this? So I put what is a type of other, right? Well, we know what the type of other is, or at least what we want the type of other to be. Here, it's of type any, right? But I want it to be of type point, right? And I want to type hint into type point. So I thought that I could do this. Other, right? I'll force it this way, point. It didn't work in the function signature up here, so I couldn't do it. It didn't work here. It had the big old squiggly underscore. So fine, I'll try and do it here. There we go, right? And then I could do other dot, right? But still, even though I've type hinted it to this class point, and point should have a self.x equals x and self.y equals y, so it should have two attributes that are x and y. I don't see them, they're not exposed. So damn annoying that is, right? So I'm prompted to go and ask a question like, how do I expose that, or how do I tell or know that other should be should have an X and a Y that is of the same type as this class pointer? It is the class pointer. So I go along and ask this question somewhere. It tells me. So I said, what is a type of other? In the context of double underscore add, the dunder method, in the type of other parameter can vary. Here's the breakdown, depending on what you're adding, right? Well, I want to add here point basically to another point. I want to do this point and then create another point and sort of like add the 2 points up together. So as far as I'm concerned, the second definition, P2 point, is also a point. So let's go back, right? However, Python's flexible. So ideally, others should be an instance of the same class, right? That's what I want. This allows for consistent, predictable behavior. In the point example, other is expected to be another point object, right? It's expected to be that. So I'm expecting that if other is expected to be another point object, that it should be of type point, and then I should be able to expose the X and the Y. But I can't. So annoying, right? However, Python's flexibility allows you to define, add, handle other types as well. Fantastic. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to do the most simple case. You could, for instance, make it work with integers and other custom types. Great, fantastic. We love this feature, but that's not what's being used. We're just trying to do this more simplistic thing up the top. It's important that you remember that if the other object is not of a type that your add method is designated to handle, then a type error could occur. Yep, fantastic. We're again doing just this first piece. Right. Best practices. Generally considered good practice to ensure that other is of a compatible type. Again, that's exactly what we're doing. This often involves using isInstance to check the type of other with your add method. Okay, fine. Could do that as a check. If you intend to support addition within different types, you should handle those type cases carefully in your method and so forth. Okay, in summary, whilst the most common logical scenario is that other will be an instance of the same class. Don't know why my volume was on there. Oh, it's because I put the Bluetooth off and not the volume. Whilst the most common logical scenario is that other will be of the same class that the underscore add method is in Python, allows you more flexibility. So the other determined and so forth. Anyway, right, it goes along and gives me this, and then I'm like, well, here we go. This is my question. How do I type hint for other in the code? And it's done this, right, which I've never seen before, right? It's I'm allowed to do this, which is, and just cast your eye on if I've got them here. No, I haven't at the moment. Somewhere in there I might have it. I'm just going to do the G-Link because it's quite a cool little thing. If it launches, yeah, it does. Right, just keep your eye on this and this, as in the color of them, because that's what I'm looking at. So I'm going to put in here quotation point, right? And the point's now turned into green, but it's in quotations. And I don't know if you notice, but the colour of these two changed from white to yellow. And so again, if I just do this, they go white. I get a squiggly underscore here. But these two in the red, in the little red boxes, are white, which means that they're not found as it was. And the minute I put the quotations, they turn to blue as in they're found. So Control Z, you see that again, white, and then turns blue. Fantastic. So I know that they now exist. As in, I can do this other dot, and now I get the methods and attributes, right? Fantastic. So not only do I get the methods and attributes, but I presume, and we can actually try this out, def try me self dot, and then return none. Okay, we're not going to do anything in particular, and we will get rid of all of those little boxes now. I can do other dots, and we get the function in there as well. We've got the try me function, right? So whereas if this didn't exist, so I'll remove it, I'll just X that out, and I'm just going to, poor practice, but I'm just going to stuff it somewhere for now. There we go. And then I type in other, oh, so I've got a semicolon. I was looking at this underscore, the underscore red. Right, so go back and do other, and then dot, no methods and attributes, right? But when I put this all back, and then do other and then dot, I get the methods and attributes. Fantastic. So, you know, I've got a try me in there now. Okay. So we like this, but I'm like, you know, I've coded in Python for several years. I've never seen this before. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Anyway, I can now proceed with this, I guess, and it would work without it, by the way. Everything ran here, so if I actually do run this, you know, I get the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4, and 1 plus, so the 1 plus 3 here is just, you know, finalizing this piece, but this is not the important bit. But the 1 and the 3 over here, they add up to give me 4. 1 plus 3 is 4, and if I do it in a different color, I guess the 2 and the 4, they add up to give me a 6 over there. So that's all of that was doing anyway. But the question is what is this here? So I do cheekily just go back down over here, and because I know that it's going to give me a little bit of commentary, and it does, which is quite nice. So I've asked it to do this type in, and it's given me this type in, and actually it's even done this here. So I could type in what's actually being returned, which is actually in a way the proper way of doing it, although I believe that I haven't type hinted, but if I hover over add it already, that's type inferred. Just out of interest, if I delete all of this and hover over, no, it's going to be a type, and it could be already established that Control Z. So that's pretty much it. Now I just want to go and do some extras on here, which is, yeah, I wanted to read down below. So other, which is of type point, this indicates that the other parameter is expected to be an instance of the point class. The quotes are used because the point class is not fully defined when it is passed. Just got to switch on. Always get some background noise. So the important piece, I guess, is this bit here. This is called a forward reference. There we go. That's the important bit over there. And then don't need that. It's the forward reference piece. That's the important piece. Right. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. The arrow pointing to the point indicates that the add method is expected to return an instance of the point class. We kind of like knew that, but it's sort of like nice to know that you that this thing exists, which is called the forward reference, and you can reference a function or the class name inside of the class itself with the quotations, right? X in, Y in, string, okay, fine, and that's all the rest of it. So I think that's pretty much that on that front. Let's see this important note. Important note, while type hints are improve code readability and help with static and that, okay, this is the normal kind of like, I guess, warning sign that comes on a tin in Python. It's not so important. But basically, you know, these are all just hints in Python. We already know that. As in, I could have, where is it over here? I could have hinted that x here was an int and y was an int. But here I could have put in 1.0 and 2.1, right? So I could put in floats and, you know, run the same piece of code and I get an answer back. Oh, here we get the floating point thing. I did a different video on floating points at one point in time, because you'd expect that 2.1 plus 4.1 in Python would return you 6.2. Fantastic. Look, we get a nice floating point thing in there. So another oddity. I could, you know, and that's some of the things here. Let me just round to one decimal place or something like that. Or I think when we print out the string, oh, I could do how to round, whatever. I'm just going to leave it, or in fact, I'll cheat. I won't even do that. There we go. I know I still get the floating point. Why? That's bloody annoying. There we go. I've avoided this massive long floating point thing by just changing decimals, but there are other like little methods to avoid the floating point. I won't do that quite yet because we're still talking about this forward referencing. So I'll remind us what we're talking about here, which is forward referencing basically. So I go back and sort of like, let's do a little Google on this. And so, I mean, all I did, I think, on this thing, the forward reference Python is what I typed in. Go over to the site again, so Stack Overflow is one of the answers. I did look at, there was another little video somewhere as well. There's a couple of videos, so you've got one more video to add to your plethora of videos. But does Python evaluate type hinting? So this is a different sort of question, really. Does it evaluate it? The answer is no. MyPy doesn't even run your code at all. There is no way you could delegate the type in. But you can see the question here again. It's asked in a different disguise. So this is like a new universe of things that I've come to see here. But basically here, a.test dot double underscore annotations double underscore, that, you know, to give you back this, I guess, a which is of type A. Or do you get back this, which is of class main double underscore dot a? So, you know, which one of these two again? Now, that's an interesting question just in itself. So I wonder if there's anything else about type hints with forward references, Python stack 2022, Python typing forward declaration. Let's have a look at that one. I'm trying to write some code with generic types like this. Okay. They got the self.other for type hinting of other. Well, it's exactly the same question, right, as the question I just asked. For type hinting of other object, I'm going to zoom in a tiny bit more, just make it a bit clearer. I tried the following, right? Other dot underscore sortable hash. But I guess that is not supported by my editor. And my editor was flagging. So it's not quite the same question. Is your way to forward reference declare the type as it could be done in languages like C++? I am using Python 3.1. So yeah, this person's using a similar Python to me. I think I'm on 3.13 now. Here we go. From Python 3.11 onwards, you can use typing.self for this case. Ooh, I wonder if I could have done that. I wonder if there's a worked example. So I might stick down here. I see this dude. No, I don't see that dude. Okay, right. Can I do something like this? Import typing this module, and then do, instead of doing this, do typing.self, right? And yes, I can. Even more beautiful. Now you've got two options here. So forward referencing, I might throw this out of the window now, or I'll put a big fat or typing. You choose, right? That's one. I don't know how to do the casting of votes thing on here, if I could even do it, but that's an interesting one. In the comments, that's a really interesting one for the user. Let me delete all of this. Right. Oops, Control Z. I want to delete everything apart from. Get rid of that. Copy that. Right, that's what this is called now, forward typing on, so I can get rid of that as well. Right, which do you prefer? Or is the convention? Question mark. If I can spell convention right, I probably still spell C-O-N-V-E-N-T. Yeah, okay, fine. So now, I'm sure that someone's going to completely and utterly correct me on this, but they're going to go, well, you use typing in this particular case and you use forward referencing in a different sort of case. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. So I'm going to go back to the Bard over here, because I've got the chat already open. Instead of I need to put it in quotations. Use the import typing. To type hints, right? I'm just telling this thing, the general processing transformer, the GPT thing, what to do. So the AI, I'm telling it what to do, and let's just see what it throws out. So boom, is you've done the import typing, right? So this is really interesting for two reasons, right? One, the AI has taught me something new, something that I didn't know, right? I quite like this. I like the idea of forward, and I actually don't know what's better. I'm about to ask what's better, but I don't know what's better, right? I like this because this has got the same name as this, right? That's kind of like pretty, and it's doing something like this quotation's pointing out something that, hey, this is not yet finished, so it's forward referencing, right? That's the one benefit. But I also like this typing module version here because I'm using a built-in module, and I don't have anything in quotations, which is sort of like nice because it is of itself, right? Which is self-explanatory, right? Import typing, we import typing module, which provides various type hinting tools, right? So that's kind of like what I've forced it or told the AI to do, like I've hinted towards that, right? Right, so typing.self, we use a typing.self to indicate that other is expected to be an instance of the point class, which is what I wanted. Typing.self is the preferred way to type hints, to type in the current class, and removes the need for forward references. Okay, that's an interesting one, because if this was the preferred way, because that was going to be my next question, then why was this used? I've got no idea. In that case, I've never seen forward referencing, but it's elegant. We have to admit there's a little piece of elegance in there. So why didn't use it? Like, yeah, interesting. But then the AI has flexibility on its answer. Typing.self, we use typing.self to indicate that the return type, okay, fine, well, we know that anyway. So, advantages of typing.self. It is more explicit and readable than forward references. Now, I will give it one thing. On the forward references, while it's elegant over here, if I was to change the name of my class for whatever reason, so, and I wonder if I do this, right? So I change it to like point X, right? That's not going to be good, right? So because I'd have to change all of these things here. This one, this one, this one, and this one. There is a way of changing all things together, but is it Control F to find and then match the whole match expression. Click that there you go, replace the point. Okay. There's better ways of doing this, but I'm going to change all of the points to point x's, right? Didn't do that didn't work, did it? Or do I have to go through them? Okay, let's just do it like that. I could have, there's probably a replace all somewhere. Replace, yeah, Control Alt Enter, that would have done it. Anyway, that's fine because that's cool here. Now I'm just going to do a Control Z, I guess, to go back, right? And I'm going to remove this typing.self, so this other bit here, and I'm going to then just do point. Now it didn't capitalize it, so I had to do that, but now it's recognized it. And well, I could do the replace all would probably work because the point is captured. I was going to say it doesn't work here, but basically the point being that if I will do a replace all. That's fine, but I had to remember to change this with the typing.other. I never had to do anything inside of the code. Now, swings and roundabouts. Do we want this explicit forwardness to be kind of like shown and hinted towards us, or do we want the typing thing dot was it typing.type, was it, or do we want that? So which way is best? And let me just replace all the point x's back with the points, and let's just do there we go. Right, I don't know which way is best, but yeah, we've got one way or the other on this. So it's more explicit and readable than forward references. It correctly handles inheritance. I'm no expert on inheritance. I do know of inheritance. I don't massively use, well, I use it, but not massively. It is a modern and preferred approach for type hinting of the current class. Okay, what I will ask is, so when should one use forward? Now, I might ask this on Stack Overflow, although half the time you get a facetious answer from someone reads, oh, you should have known what forward references are. Here I'm going to get a nice polite answer. Forward references in Python type hinting become necessary in specific scenarios, primarily when dealing with situations where a type is referenced before it's fully defined. Here's a breakdown. Okay, circular dependencies, better be careful of that. I stay well clear of that. When two or more classes reference each other in their type hints. Okay. I mean, that's dangerous anyway. So I'm not going to, I don't know if I want to even go anywhere near that. I could see it being there. That's you got to be very careful with any kind of circular references in any coding at all whatsoever. So it's kind of like that's not a case that I would even want to be using it. Self-referencing classes, as demonstrated in the previous example. However, these is now the preferred way. Right, before typing.self became widely used, string-based forward references were very common. Okay. So I guess the answer is that after 3.11, so if you're using a version later than 3.11, which I am, you should be doing typing.self. I'm really surprised that didn't exist like ages ago, but I guess all languages kind of like develop and grow, and Python's one of them. So Python's developing and growing as well. And yeah, let's see. So basically, I think outside the forward references, I've answered the question. If anyone's got any input into that, because I was going to put it to a vote, I am more comfortable using the import and then typing.type. But one can use the forward reference. So anyway, that's forward referencing in Python. I think that's pretty much the end of it. That's my little education. I now know what it is. It's posted on YouTube as a little blog for everyone else and a reminder to myself. If you like this video, do the thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, and all of the other bits. There's even a little piece at the bottom corner of the video now, on the bottom right hand corner, that QR code. You can send. I think you can send some Bitcoin to my Bitcoin wallet. There you go. Contribute to the Bitcoin wallet so that this can keep going on. And that's it. One piece just before I do end. I might just make this. I don't want to really use rounding, but that's the. I think it was 2.1, for example. Right. The interesting bit is if x equals 2.1 and y equals 4.2, print x plus y. Because I'm just going to bang this into an example here. Yeah, it still gives me this floating point. So I'm just going to do this quickly, just to, maybe in a way it actually demonstrates the. Where is it? Bars. There we go. Over here, paste that in here. Returns. And what does it return? So let's get that piece, that code over there. It returns me this. But I expect 6.3. Right, there we go. Just stick that all in. Right, it's going to talk about floating points. One message is using roundings, using F strings. I think it might be this. Oh, there we go. I guess if I just do that, that's kind of like. I mean, the reality is, round. Both are good. I was going to throw in the round method, but I had a feeling it's more like this. So I'll just do that. And that kind of like now. I wonder if I can actually do that there as well. No, I can't, because that's going to be an F string. But inside this F string here, I can do that. So let me just get rid of this anyway. The alternative is maybe I'll stick it in here. Round and then like sort of like one. I fix both of them. There we go. It's a little bit cleaner. Just wanted to show that. Just a bit of formatting of strings, but that's it. So nothing really more than that. Answer 2 questions and a little bit of formatting. When you've got the floating point errors, floating points. Well, it is a floating point error. You get them like in all languages, depending on how you use various different things. Just different way of doing that. But we're on the forward referencing or typing thing. We decided that typing is good. We know what forward referencing is. We don't use forward referencing after Python version 3.11. So that's the long and short of it. Thumbs up, like, follow, and all the rest. And that's the end of this. And send some Bitcoin to this little wallet. That's well needed. And then I'm just going to stop streaming.